I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to another One Day at a Time after show. Today, we are going to be breaking down Season 4, Episode 5, Perfect. I am your host, Taylor Gates, and I'm joined by one lovely co-panelist tonight. We have Alyssa Acosta-Milan.
Hey, everyone. I'm so excited to talk about this episode. It was a great episode.
I totally agree. So did you think this episode was as perfect as the title suggested? What was kind of your overall emotions that you took away from it, just your overall thoughts on it?
Well, it was interesting because they didn't have as many of the characters as they normally do in this episode. So I know that they had Snyder and his girlfriend in there, which we don't usually see her a lot. So that was pretty awesome. But we didn't see Dr. B. We also didn't see Elena's girlfriend. So I still thought it was a really great episode. There was a lot of moving parts with it. So I'm excited to dive right in.
Totally agree. Like you said, I like that you mentioned Avery because I do love seeing Avery, and I'm so excited that she's becoming sort of a more prominent, featured character. Let's start off by talking about Elena, because although Sid was not in this episode, we did get to see a little bit of Elena's, I guess we always see her nerdy side come out, but her academically nerdy side come out in this episode. She's trying to figure out her perfect Yale essay, and she just can't decide. I am obsessed with the fact that she had that huge poster board of a zillion index card ideas, which I thought was so funny, but she cannot figure out one. I thought this was pretty in character for her, and I kind of liked seeing her a little frazzled, especially about something like this. What did you think about her storyline in this episode?
Well, it definitely brought me back to my days in high school when I was putting together essays and deciding what college to go. I ended up joining the Marine Corps instead, and I went to college in the Marine Corps. But before that, when I was a senior in high school, my anatomy teacher called me Miss Meticulous because I was so detail oriented with everything, with the essays and applying to colleges. So I understood her frustration. And when she opened that, I'm thinking that is something I probably would do. I think she took it up 3 notches more than I would, but it played very well with her character. So I was not surprised at all. And I thought it was funny that Penelope was like, oh, just put it all in. And then the grandmother's just like, you're not interested in it at all. So that was a really good storyline right there.
I agree. I thought Lydia's comments were particularly funny just within this storyline. She's like, I'm going to write about how I put the I in environmental. And she's like, you put the mental in environmental, which I thought was so hilarious. And it's funny because I'm watching Little Fires Everywhere right now, and not to spoil anything, but there's a character who's also trying to write a Yale essay. And so I'm like, I love how I'm just getting all the Yale essays this week with everything that I watch. But we didn't get to figure out what her essay was. What do you think it was? I'm so mad that we didn't get to see what topic she landed on.
It might have been something about her and maybe her relationship with Sid, because I know she was talking about her ranking being the general. So maybe she went with that. I think that was maybe a hint. I don't know if they're actually going to say actually what it was. Maybe down the road when she gets accepted at college and they'll ask her. But if it's up to Lydia, I don't really think she cares about what she wrote about as long as she gets in.
Yeah, for sure. I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see what she lands on, how she puts them all together. And then we didn't get to see it, but I agree with you. Maybe we'll see it, later down the line. They like to kind of plant little bread crumbs and sort of bring them in later. We also had Alex this episode, which was a very interesting storyline that I didn't really expect for him, but makes total sense that we saw it. But basically, we start out by him needing $500. I feel like Alex always needs money. I feel like it's brought up once an episode, but I love how that he pitches the idea of a quinceañero essentially. And he's like, well, I mean, you can just give me the money instead. But of course, all of the family is so excited about the idea. What did you think about that?
Well, I thought it was funny that it backfired on him, because I think that he just thought that she would say, okay, I'll give you the money. I knew that there was no way Penelope was just going to fork over $500 and not ask why. But I love the fact that Elena thought okay, it's going to be going with different genders, So I had a quinceañera, now he's going to have a quinceañero. And the fact that all three of them loved it and they started dancing, I'm thinking that's something my family would definitely do. And it would probably be my brother, and he'd be so embarrassed. But I like the fact that he kind of like snuck it in there, like, oh, I just need the money. But then it backfired on him. But then it ended up turning out pretty okay because she ended up giving him the money when she found out what it actually was for.
That's very true. I'm so mad though. I loved the Quinces episode, and
So did
like,
I.
I'm ready. Like, I'm ready for another one. Let's go. And then we, of course, didn't get to see that yet, at least. But I was with them. I was so excited about the idea of having another one of these. But
I was excited about the fact about thinking, because Lydia was talking about like, oh, I want to have a dance with Papito. I could definitely see them on the dance floor with Penelope and him, and then Lydia kind of coming in and kind of bumping her out of the way so she can dance with him.
oh, for sure. I mean, we even get that foreshadowed sort of at the end there, which we'll get to in a second. But I love that he wants to take a class, and not just any class, but he wants to take a fashion design class. I personally was a little bit surprised when he said this, but I think it makes sense with like he's trying to kind of get more into style. Like he is finding his own sort of like brand, the streetwear. Like his hair is obviously different now. What was your initial thoughts on this? Were you like, oh yeah, I totally saw that coming, or were you also a little bit surprised?
I was a little bit surprised. I mean, I can see it now because he's in the past episode, he's always talked about, I need money for shoes. So he always talks about shoes. So if he was maybe going into something about designing shoes, I could see that. With fashion, I didn't really know where he was going to go with it because they didn't really talk about anything specifically. But later on in the episode, when they talk about him saying that, everybody has their own thing and I just want my own thing and I want you to be proud of me. So I'm glad that he actually stuck with it. And I think that's cool because a lot of times the episodes, they don't rely heavily on him. So we don't see too much of what he's doing. So I was excited to see that he was interested in something and they kind of took the storyline and went with it.
Totally. And I feel like this is not going to be just something that we see this one episode. I feel like this is going to be sort of a recurring theme and maybe a dream that he starts building up and maybe faces more challenges and more, celebrations sort of with his like budding fashion career, which was so exciting. And I thought it was hilarious that Lydia's like, oh, well, I'll teach you. Like, I learned from the best. And Penelope's impression of her was spot on. Like her voice,
yes,
exactly the same.
I was like, she probably nailed that in like one take. That was probably like one and done because she did such a great job.
She is so good. I just like, I want to just keep like, I want more of her sort of doing an impression because it was just so hilarious because it was so accurate. I personally was not surprised that they found out the shorts were made in China. I was like, there's something up here. Like this is flowing way too easily. But I maybe thought that he gave it to like a friend or like did something else with it. I was just like very surprised on the direction this whole episode went, but I think that it shows a lot of sort of maturity for him, even if it is like coupled with sort of the fear that he's feeling, if that makes sense. So what did you think about him deciding that he wanted to quit the class?
Well, it's interesting because when he said that he was quitting because he didn't think that he was good at it, I sometimes feel like that, especially when I'm baking, because I love to bake. And sometimes it does not go very well. So I just get so frustrated. Like last night I baked something and it was a complete fail. I should be on Nailed It. And my best friend was like, I still would have eaten it. So I can understand his frustration. But I mean, the fact that he brought home a pair of shorts on your first day, you're not making a pair of shorts. You're going through the basics. So I'm like, how long was he in the class? But I'm glad that he had that chat with Penelope because I mean, there are so many things at life that, everybody individually probably wishes they were great at and they're not. And it's definitely frustrating because you want to be good at things right away. And sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But even the greats, like they're just not always good at it the first time. So I'm glad that he decided to stick with it, especially because, nowadays with like the kids and there's so much with social media and peer pressure and things like that out there. I'm glad he stuck to it and said, you know what, I'm going to keep going. And it seems like, further down the episode that it really started to work out for him, even though, it fell off. But
he lost to sleep or two in the process, maybe.
But we love Bess. We love Bess.
Yeah, she can rock a vest. She can rock anything. It's fine. I totally agree with you. I also really liked in that scene because I feel like when he started talking about it, it was like, oh, well, I'm not perfect at it. Like I, am not great at anything, I immediately clicked for me because he does have this older sister who, yes, Elena can be, you know, a little much sometimes, but she is like, she has all of these essay topics planned out and she wants to go to Yale and she's like doing all this good in the world. And so I think that it makes a lot of sense that he feels sort of pressure, you know, not only from Penelope and from Lydia, but especially from Elena. So I'm really glad that they sort of touched on that too. And we're kind of seeing him become his own person, which is so, so cool. We also have Schneider and Avery get a lot of screen time, which was so sweet and so funny and like quirky and random too, because it revolves around this terrifying clown named Ruckus that Dr. B decides to gift them. Opinions on Ruckus?
Well, first of all, I don't know why I was surprised that I thought Dr. B would give them a normal present because he always has, he's just always throwing things out there that you're like, okay. And it's funny because they were so excited. They're like, oh, our first baby gift. And it reminded me, and I know when my brother and my sister-in-law watch this, so they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say exactly what it is. But before my niece was born, or actually she might have been born already, they had gotten a baby gift and we had seen it in the store. My brother and I were both like, yeah, we would not want this for the baby. And somebody got it for them. And we looked at it, we were like, oh, that's so great. And then we're thinking, this is not great. But I mean, like, it was nice. It was a gift. But the fact that he gave that to them, I'm thinking Schneider might love this because, you know, Schneider just loves like quirky things. He's always like coming up with something crazy. Avery, I didn't think she was gonna love it, but it was so great because she would be like, oh, I can't wait, you know, to see this in the house. And she really could wait. But I mean, what do you do when somebody gives you a gift and you don't want to hurt their feelings? Especially because the clown meant so much to him. They're like, well, we can't just like throw it away because then he's probably gonna come over and be like, where's the clown? Well, what did you think about that, Taylor?
I think that if you're in a situation like that, you put the clown in the closet for most of the time until he's coming over, and then you bring the clown out and you put him on your chair, prominently displayed. You know, pull that old move where you get like an ugly Christmas sweater, put it in until grandma comes to visit. Like that's what I would maybe do in the situation. But I thought it was so funny, and I thought it was even funnier that Schneider was super into it. And the fact that they related it back to how he was like a lonely kid, I thought it was really sweet, and like they pulled off having something so insane in the episode with something that was like really resonated and fit with their characters.
But that's so much for like a baby though, because you know sometimes you see like those huge teddy bears that people give you and you put in the rocking chair in the baby's room. Like I think that's okay, but a huge clown, like even if I had that in the closet, I would be like, okay, I can't have this in my house. This is just like
you have to stuff it back.
It's like a huge clown
behind the old prom dress, behind everything in your closet. It is going deep in there, so we don't make it haunted, make it curse, make it climb out of the closet on its own. It's sketchy. We gotta put some safety protocols in front of that clown. I also like that this kind of showed that they were a little bit nervous about how their relationship might change once the baby comes, and how Dr. B, of course, planted that completely accidentally and did not realize it at all. But I think that's a really interesting point, and I think that their relationship will change. But I like that they kind of figured that, oh, it's going to actually change for the better. Like, I think it's going to bring them a lot closer together. So what did you think about them finally sort of repairing that and even exploring that idea?
Well, I mean, given the fact that they've never had a fight before, they haven't been together that long, period. But when you have somebody that's been there, that's been married, that's a parent, and they're giving you advice, I mean, I think anybody would kind of think about like, wow, maybe that could happen to us because we've never been parents before. So we don't know how this is going to go. But then, you know, you see towards the end of the episode, once they see the baby and just everything goes away and they realize, hey, we're not Dr. B. And then of course he says, oh, we broke up because she had an affair with somebody. You know, you could have mentioned that like 4 days ago, Dr. B.
I totally agree. I also thought it was so, like, the line that made me laugh out loud was when they were like, can you tell if it's a boy or a girl? And he said, of course I can. I'm a doctor.
I'm a doctor.
What do you think it's going to be?
Oh, I want to say it might be twins, but I don't know if the show would do that to Schneider. I don't know if he can handle that. That might just be like too much for him. But I'm gonna go with girl. I think it's gonna be a
I feel
girl.
like it'll be a girl too. I don't know. Something
Yeah.
in me just like feels. I feel like it's just because, like Alex is so alone. Like obviously there's Schneider, but Alex is so alone. I think they're just gonna throw another girl and be like, yes, you are indeed
Yes.
going to stay the only
And I'm so
child
excited
of
to
this family.
see if Schneider, I have a feeling, I mean, obviously we don't have that many episodes left, but I have a feeling that once the baby is here, he's going to go to the Alvarez's house a lot and be like, I don't know what to do, or the baby won't start crying, or I just need a break for 5 seconds. We need like a mommy and daddy date or something like that. And Penelope's going to be like, relax, I've done this twice. It's fine. You guys are great parents. Like, I'm calling it
Yeah, for sure. I'm so excited to see how
now.
that kind of changes, yeah, Avery and Schneider's relationship, but also the Alvarez's, because that's going to cause some ruckus if I can add that little. So that kind of wraps up the actual plot of the episode, but you have a special segment for us. Is that correct?
Yeah, so mine's kind of fun little facts because since this episode we were talking about a lot of it had to do with the baby because they saw the baby on the ultrasound and then Dr. B brought the gift. So I have a couple little facts that I wanted to talk to you about.
Ooh.
So I read a Good Housekeeping article that they posted last month that said, according to the Social Security Administration, the most popular names currently are Emma and Liam. So I thought that was interesting because I was thinking, what would they name their baby? And I think with Avery and Schneider, it's going to be a name that is not popular whatsoever. It's going
No.
to be something that's completely out there, like maybe a mix of their names, maybe not, but it's definitely not going to be like an Ashley or Bob or anything. It's going to be something like definitely unique, I think,
For sure. I think
right?
that they could even like pay homage to someone in the Alvarez family just because Schneider loves them so much, like
Yes.
video, or I don't know,
I,
like a variation of that. I don't know. I just really feel like they could kind of go down that road as a sign of like the families kind of meshing, you know?
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing too. I was like, what's the male version of Penelope if they had a boy,
Right.
Like
Oh, that would be so cute. Or Al or something, like just because it's like the Alvarez last name. Al,
Oh,
I just
Alberto.
Alberto. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, the
Can
grandfather's
we,
name is Berto,
can we
so
just write for the show? I feel like we already kind of have it in the bag.
okay, next on familylivingtoday.com because they got a gift from Dr. B, albeit they didn't really like it. However, these are some of the top baby gifts: a diaper bag, a pacifier, a memory book, swaddles, burp cloths, a travel crib, teething toys, nursing pillow, and a towel / washcloth set. So I'm
Oh
interested
my
to see if
gosh.
they get any of these things. A creepy
Hopefully.
clown was not on that list though.
Shocking. I'm so surprised. Oh my gosh, you reading that list just made me exhausted. I cannot imagine having a newborn baby right now.
Yeah.
So exhausting.
And then the last thing I looked up was from the bump.com because, we were talking about, do we think it's a boy or a girl? And I'm glad that they didn't say what it is yet because I hope that they stay surprised. However, I looked up a couple different gender reveals that I think they might do because they're, a little bit crazy. So one would be a piñata where it explodes with either pink or blue because that's a lot of things that like Spanish people do. And, he's all about the Alvarez's. So they might do something like that. A candle where you light the wick and then it either burns pink or blue. But what happens if you have twins? Like what color? What if one's a boy, one's a girl? Like how?
Probably have 2 candles.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you probably have to get 2.
I think they would possibly do this one because Snyder is like a kid at heart. So
Oh, yeah.
silly string. So you wrap the bottle so they can't see what color it is, and then you spray it, and then it either comes out pink or blue.
Oh, fun.
I think that one would be really awesome. I could see like Penelope really getting in there and like spraying everybody. That would be really funny.
Oh, for
And
sure.
then the last one, which I've seen a lot of my friends do, is where the mom wears the white t-shirt and then the dad puts the hands on the stomach. And then when you lift it, the hands are either blue or pink on the stomach.
Aww.
Or green or yellow, whatever colors you want to do. You really haven't seen that?
That's really cute though.
Yeah. So you could have like big brother or big sisters do it, and they put their hands on like the stomach and they lift it up, and then on the stomach it's you kind of do it like this, so it's like a heart. So,
my
but I don't want to
gosh,
say
that's
just
cute.
pink or blue, because some people might want to do red for a girl or a boy. Some people might want to
Yeah.
do green.
Get
You never
creative with
know.
it.
So,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I'm just so excited to see what happens next with that, which we'll do more I guess formal predictions because we're discussing 2 episodes tonight. So we will do more
Yes.
predictions when we get to the next episode. So we'll see you guys in just a second, but where can everyone find you on social media?
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Alyssa_Acosta. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We love chatting with you guys.
Awesome. And you guys can find me on Twitter at alphabet_Ann and on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. And we will see you in just a second. Until then, though, take it one day at a time.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.